The reflection of my father's signature wavered on the mahogany desk as he slid the company transfer papers toward my stepsister. My throat constricted, each breath becoming shallow and tight. I gripped the edge of the doorframe I was hiding behind, my knuckles whitening as his words penetrated the room. "I've built this company from nothing, Vanessa. I'm trusting you to continue its legacy." The pen in his hand hovered. Outside, rain pattered against the windows, each drop a mocking reminder of the tears I'd shed, working alongside him for 15 years, researching markets, securing clients, rebuilding the company's reputation after the embezzlement scandal that our former CFO had orchestrated before I helped expose him. My stepsister had been with the company for 8 months. The security badge in my pocket suddenly felt like a hot coal against my thigh. The hidden camera I'd installed in his office last week was capturing everything, not just this betrayal, but the culmination of 2 decades of invisibility. I'd used my security clearance as head of strategic operations to access his office after hours, placing the small device behind his awards shelf where it wouldn't be noticed but could capture the entire room. My name is Rebecca. I'm 37 and a business strategist. This is the story of how I reclaimed my birthright and showed my father what he'd been blind to all along. I'd been 11 when my father married Heather, bringing her and her daughter Vanessa into our home like prized possessions. While I inherited my mother's analytical mind and quiet determination, Vanessa sparkled with easy charm and social grace. My father, a brilliant businessman but an emotionally stunted father, was instantly captivated. During family dinners, Vanessa would interrupt my business ideas with jokes that made my father laugh, while Heather would redirect conversations whenever I gained traction. "Rebecca is just like her mother," she'd say with a tight smile, always so intense. The words were delivered like compliments, but landed like diagnoses. I channeled that intensity into education, business school, then an MBA, then strategic consulting. When I finally returned to work at my father's company, I thought merit would matter more than blood. I rebuilt our marketing division, secured 3 major clients who'd abandoned us after the embezzlement scandal, and developed the international expansion strategy that doubled our valuation. All while Vanessa flitted between departments, learning nothing thoroughly but charming everyone completely. 2 weeks ago, I'd overheard Heather on the phone with our company lawyer. "Gregory doesn't need to know the details. Just have the transfer paperwork ready." My skin had prickled with realization. They were planning to take control while my father was still deciding who would succeed him. I'd immediately installed the camera in his office, knowing Heather would make her move soon. Now I watched as my father's pen lowered toward the signature line. His arthritic fingers trembled slightly, the same ones that had once straightened my backpack straps on the first day of school, before my mother died, before everything changed. I had been monitoring the camera feed on my phone throughout the week, and this morning I'd received an alert that movement was detected in his office. When I saw Heather arrive with the paperwork and summon Vanessa, I knew it was time. I took a deep breath, steeled myself, and pushed the door open with purpose. The office door swung open, hitting the wall with enough force to make the achievement plaques shudder. 3 sets of eyes turned toward me. My father's confused, Heather's alarmed, Vanessa's narrowing with calculation. "Don't sign that," I said, my voice steadier than my heartbeat. My father frowned. "Rebecca, we're in the middle of something. Can this wait?" "No." I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen, bringing up the video feed from the hidden camera. "It actually can't." I placed the phone on the desk, angling it so all 3 could see. The video showed Heather and Vanessa in this same office 2 days earlier, rifling through my father's files. "The international accounts are still in his name," Vanessa was saying. "Once he signs the transfer, we'll have access to everything." "He thinks he's just giving you leadership," Heather replied. "He has no idea you'll control the voting shares." "Poor Rebecca," Vanessa had laughed. 15 years of work and she gets nothing. Dad never could see her value. The color drained from my father's face. His hand, still holding the pen, began to shake more violently. He looked up at Heather, then Vanessa, searching for denial, for explanation, finding none. "There's more," I said quietly, swiping to another video where they discussed moving company assets offshore, beyond my father's reach. They've been planning this for months." Heather lunged for the phone, but I snatched it away. "It's already backed up to the cloud," I said, "and our legal team has copies. I sent everything to Kyle this morning after I saw them enter your office with the paperwork." Vanessa's composure cracked first. "Daddy, she's manipulating you out." "Don't," my father said, the word cutting through the room like a blade. For the first time, I heard genuine anger in his voice. "Don't call me that." "Not now." He turned to me, truly seeing me for perhaps the first time in 20 years. "How long have you known?" 2 weeks, I replied. I installed the camera after overhearing Heather on the phone with Kyle from legal. My father stood, placing both palms flat on the desk. "Heather, Vanessa, I want you both out of this building in 30 minutes. Security will escort you." Heather's face contorted. "Gregory, this is ridiculous. After everything." "After everything," he interrupted. "You were going to steal my company. The company Rebecca has helped build while your daughter collected a salary for doing nothing." He pressed the intercom. "Security to the executive suite, please." As they were led away, Heather's perfectly composed facade finally crumbled. She pointed at me, hand shaking. "You were always jealous of our relationship. You could never accept that he loved us more." My father flinched at her words. When the door closed behind them, silence filled the room, heavy with 2 decades of unspoken truths. "I never meant," he began. "I know," I said, though I didn't, not really. He looked around the office at the plaques and awards, the photographs of handshakes with business partners, tangible evidence of success. Then his eyes landed on the small family photo on his desk, taken before my mother died, before Heather, before I became invisible. "I didn't see what was happening," he said finally, "to the company, to you." "You saw what you wanted to see," I replied, my voice gentle but firm. "They made it easy for you." He picked up the transfer papers and slowly tore them in half, then quarters. "These will need to be redrafted," he said, "with your name on them instead." I felt a momentary surge of vindication, quickly replaced by something deeper. "I don't want them because you feel guilty," I told him. "I want them because I've earned them." He nodded, a flash of respect in his eyes that I'd waited half a lifetime to see. "You have. More than earned them." The next morning, I arrived at the office to find my father already there, surrounded by stacks of financial reports I'd prepared over the years. Reports that had been ignored in favor of Vanessa's flashier but substantively empty presentations. "I've been reading these all night," he said, gesturing to a report on international market expansion. "This analysis, it's brilliant." "I know," I said simply. He smiled, a tired but genuine smile. "Of course you do." Over the following weeks, the company underwent a transformation. Heather's divorce proceedings began swiftly and were finalized within 6 months, with a settlement that excluded any claim to company assets. The police investigation into their attempted corporate theft was dropped at my father's insistence. He wanted to move forward, not dwell on their betrayal. Vanessa's role was eliminated. My father announced my promotion to COO at the next board meeting, presenting evidence of my contributions that he'd somehow never noticed before. But the real change happened in smaller moments. My father asking for my opinion in meetings, actually listening to the answer, defending my strategies to skeptical board members, stopping by my office at the end of the day just to talk. 3 months later, we sat together in the conference room after hours, takeout containers between us, reviewing quarterly projections. "Do you remember when you were about 9, he said suddenly, "and you created that elaborate business plan for a lemonade stand, complete with cost projections and a marketing strategy?" I looked up, surprised. "You remember that?" "I found it yesterday, going through old files. You'd used colored pencils for the graphs." He shook his head. "I should have seen it then. Who you were, who you would become. Why didn't you?" The question I'd carried for 20 years finally spoken aloud. He was quiet for a long moment. "After your mother died, I couldn't look at you without seeing her intelligence, her determination." He met my eyes. her refusal to compromise. It was easier with Heather and Vanessa. They didn't remind me of what I'd lost. The truth settled between us. Neither an excuse nor a complete explanation, but something to build from. "I'm not her," I said finally. "No," he agreed. "You're better. Stronger." He pushed a folder across the table. "That's why I want you to have this." Inside was paperwork transferring controlling interest in the company to me, effective immediately. "Dad, you don't need to—" "It's not about need," he interrupted. "It's about recognition. The company is already yours in every way that matters. This just makes it official." I thought about the years of invisibility, of working twice as hard for half the recognition, the late nights and brilliant strategies that went uncredited, the quiet determination that had finally brought me here, to this moment. "Thank you," I said, signing my name where indicated. He nodded, a weight seeming to lift from his shoulders. "I should be thanking you for saving the company, for giving me a second chance I don't deserve." "Everyone deserves a second chance," I replied, "even fathers who couldn't see what was right in front of them." 6 months later, at the company's annual gala, I stood at the podium as the newly announced CEO. My father watched from the front row, pride evident in his eyes. "Success isn't just about strategy," I told the assembled employees and partners. "It's about visibility, about seeing potential where others see nothing at all." I caught my father's gaze across the crowded room. For the first time in my life, I felt truly seen. Later that evening, we stood together on the balcony overlooking the city. "I keep thinking about what might have happened if you hadn't caught them," he said quietly. "I've always seen more than people realize," I replied, "even when they don't see me at all." He placed his hand over mine on the railing, an acknowledgement of all that had been lost and all that had been found. The company thrives now, expanding into markets I'd identified years ago. My father has stepped into an advisory role, finally appreciating the value of the daughter who had always been there, waiting to be recognized. Sometimes recognition comes too late. Sometimes it never comes at all. But for those who persist, who refuse to remain invisible despite being overlooked, the moment of being truly seen carries its own justice. If you've ever been the overlooked one, the one whose contributions went unnoticed, know this: your value isn't determined by others' ability to see it. Your worth exists independent of recognition. But when that recognition finally comes, when the invisible becomes visible, there's a power in that moment that no one can take away. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles, zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.